Sound check, 1, 2.
This is the 217 Recovery Podcast with Corey Winfield.
We get it, that's the past, but we need to focus more on having fun and being goofy, being ourselves.
It's the 5th of May. May the 4th be with you, and the joke's over now. It is the 217 Recovery Podcast. My name is Corey Winfield. Joining me, very special guest. One of the first people I reached out to when we started the 217 Recovery Podcast. It is Lisa. Lisa, say your last name.
Clavier.
Clavier. I always want to say Cavalier, but Clavier.
No. Yeah.
Okay, but other than me not being able to say your name, I really like you, and I think what you do is great.
Well, thank you. I love what you do, too, to support the recovery community. It's so needed and important, and it's a great cause.
Yeah, and it was probably about a year ago, maybe a little bit over, almost a year ago, is when we first met. We did the podcast inside the church, and the microphones were all messed up and weird, and I had a huge computer at that time, and it was just like we were winging it, and it was nice for you to sit down with us, though, and tell us a little bit about your story. Of course, you're the executive director, correct, of Kiersten's Ride?
Yes.
And
correct.
Go ahead, say it again.
No, I just said you were correct.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'd like to hear that. So, but no, and we sat down, and you kind of told us what was going on and what you do, and people in recovery have a hard time when we relapse, and we think we have nothing to live for, you know. And I was in this meeting group the other day. It was in New Zealand, because that's how I do my Zoom meetings in other countries. And the lady said that there was a point in her life that she didn't have anything to live for. And now it's to the point where she would never drink again because she has too much to live for. You know, it gets to that point where we're letting people down. At least that's what we think. We're like, oh, we drank again, or oh, we used again. And I promised everybody, my family, my girlfriend, my wife, my kids, I promised everybody it would never happen again. And oh, I'm such a loser, and what can I do? And then, obviously, some people, they think about suicide, and that, you know, it shouldn't be an option, but a lot of people do think about that, and we have to acknowledge that. And I really like that's what you do, is you don't scold people. You're not like, hey, don't think about that. That's bad. You're going to go to hell. You know, you kind of meet them where they are. And I think that's great. And I've kind of taken that approach, too, with some of the people that reach out to me for help in recovery. You know, it's like, I'm not going to tell them they're bad people because they just used again. I'm going to say, hey, you know, let's find the good in that person. And everybody does have a reason to live, a huge reason.
It's just hard to see sometimes. Yeah.
And, you know, in that moment, it's tough for them. And that's why, like I said, that's what I love about what you teach and kind of what you're about with your assist trainings and stuff. But you can't do any of that right now.
Yes, it's difficult right now because, you know, it's needed. There are so many people who have times in their life when they do struggle to see their own self-worth, even though it's there. And I like that you recognize that, you know, we're about meeting someone where they're at. Every single person has had times in their life where they're not happy with maybe a situation they're in, whether they've created it or otherwise. And we all just need someone to be compassionate and just say, hey, this is not who you are. This is a moment of time in your life. And if we can just all become compassionate and help each other get through those times, the world will be a much better place. Mm-hmm. And we will have people in our lives who recognize their own self-worth and, you know, just feel valued, even if they go through difficult times.
And the feeling of value or feeling important is something that can really change, obviously, a person's attitude and the way they think, the way they feel. You know, even dressing nice, you know, putting on a new outfit can really change the way you think. You know, like if you go to the store in your Walmart sweatpants or whatever and, you know, your T-shirt, you're going to be hiding from people. You know, and if you see somebody you know from high school or from church or whatever, you're going to, oh, no, I don't want them to see me. But now if you're all done up, you know, dressed to the nines and everything's perfect, looking good, you're feeling good, and you see that person, you're going to want to walk right up to them and be like, hey, look at me. And it's that same kind of perception and thinking and feeling that can really make a difference in someone's life, whether they're struggling with anything really, whether they're struggling with addiction, or they're struggling just with life problems, or they feel overwhelmed. It's easier said than done, and depression is a hard thing to come out of. And I didn't even know that was real. I thought that was just something that women got, Lisa. I was like, depression. Oh, that's my aunt. She gets that. She's nuts. And then it hit me. And I was like, what is this? Why do I not want to get out of bed? Why do I want to crawl into a hole and die? What is going on with my life? And the doctor was like, well, you're depressed. You're suffering from severe depression. And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm a dude, And it was a wake-up call. And I think a lot of people, and maybe men in general, it's hard for us to accept it, when that hits us and we feel like a failure and no one's going to love us and we didn't live up to the standards. And really it's their standards that are set by us that are unrealistic anyway. We grow
and
up.
I think that's very interesting that you shared that, because for one, it's not a men's problem or a woman's problem. There's no criteria that we have to fit within these checked boxes, but we're really just all human beings, and we all have a susceptibility to things like anxiety or depression. And so we just have to be willing to recognize that. And then we have to be willing to say, okay, this may be something I'm suffering from. Let me have it checked out. Let me find out what I need to do. And then you talk about those expectations that you're putting on yourself. Sometimes our expectations on ourselves are way too high. Mm-hmm. There's so many people right now with this, the stay-at-home order that we're all just trying to go through this quarantine. And for some people, we set these expectations. Well, I should be getting all of these things done. And really, sometimes your expectations need to just be a list of 5 things. I'm going to get up. I'm going to get dressed. And I'm going to go for putting on jeans or maybe makeup today. Or, for some people, sweatpants are fine. They're comfortable in that. Mm-hmm, yeah. So for others, it can make a big difference to say, okay, maybe this is my day of the 2 weeks and I'm going to the grocery store, so I'm going to pick out a nicer pair of slacks and a shirt that makes me feel good. And just kind of show up for yourself before you show up for anyone else.
Yeah.
So, but setting those realistic expectations for yourself of, maybe 5 simple things for the day, whether it's making sure your dishes are done because that makes you feel better, or, putting on the makeup or a nice shirt. Setting some simple expectations and making sure there's something in there, some form of self-care, something that makes you feel good, whether it's simple exercise, playing fetch with your dog. Simple things like that can really make a big difference. Maybe it's, if you're a meditator or a deep breather, things like that. Watching your favorite upbeat TV show, making sure if you're in a susceptible, a place where you're vulnerable, make sure that you're mindful of that and then focus toward the things that are helpful for you.
Now, I have to admit, my expectations today were a little high with, well, who didn't have any expectations today was the UPS driver. That's how I was going to say it, but it really wasn't his expectations. His expectation was he was going to get up, go to work, eat lunch, whatever. My expectations were that he was going to come to my house and he was going to beat on the door like a gorilla, and I would hear him no matter what room I was in my house, and I would get my new computer delivered, and then that we would have fun, and I would have fun. I would put together, and I'd be playing games, or probably not games, but designing logos or doing this podcast with you on the new computer, and just all excited, and that didn't happen today. He apparently doesn't knock very. I mean, I don't know. It could be a little person. Who knows? But
hopefully it wasn't my brother.
Is he? I don't even. Oh,
he is a UPS driver.
You tell him. No, I was so mad, and then I call this other place that gets taken to, because they bring it to me here. I don't know. I didn't hear him knocking. Of course, I was cleaning the showers because my girlfriend's expectation was that when she gets home, that them showers are going to be clean, and I don't mind doing it. So I'm cleaning the shower wig. I got my music on, and I don't know. I didn't hear anything, and then every half hour I was checking my phone anyway, thinking hey, they're going to let me know when it's here, and there was no do not deliver at the door. So I just figured they would just drop it and I'd get it and it'd be good. And then no, it just said, dude wasn't home, and now we're taking it to the access point. So I'm like, all right, let me get this access point, and I'm starting to get mad. So I call the access point, pack pack mailing or something. And their lady was like, oh, yeah. And she was all chipper, like, oh, thanks for calling the UPS. She had her straight up northern Michigan accent going. Yeah, thanks for calling. And I was like, yeah, I got a package there. Well, when was it? You know, I told her, well, they just dropped it. Like today at 1:41 is when I apparently missed the knocking. Oh, well, we won't have it till tomorrow afternoon. I'm like, what? Hold on. This tracking thing says he's taking it there right now. You know, like, because in my world, this UPS driver only had my package on his truck. Nothing else to do. The rest of the day, he just took a sweet time coming from downstate, I think is where he left this morning, and then he just was taking my package to me. You know, that's in my head. That's how I was going down. And she's like, no. They have thousands of packages they deliver, and at the end of their route, when they're done in the area, they drop it by here as the access point, and then I get it, and I'll scan it and check it in. So it'll be tomorrow afternoon. Like, no, lady, I don't think you understand. I'm Corey Winfield. That's what I told her. My package is there. Like he just said he was taking it there. That's what the little tracking thing said. And I was so frustrated, but then I had to kind of let go of that and realize I should be thankful that he's even working today and that he even brought it this close. And where I went wrong is maybe I should have just been more attentive to who was knocking on my door. And it's really not a big problem. And then I started thinking, man, I'm having some white people problems today. If that's what's really the worst part of my day, you know, if I'm going to let that get me that mad and that worked up, life's pretty good, you know? I got a roof over my head. My family loves me. I love them. I mean, there's so much more to be grateful for, and to kind of not trick yourself out of that situation, because I feel like the emotions and the expectations that I had tricked me into all of a sudden feeling this type of way. But then, yeah. Lisa, after I kind of let go of that and realized, you know what, this is still a pretty good day. We got clean showers now, and I tell you what, my girlfriend, she's going to care more that those showers are cleaned than that computer sitting in here in the studio. So at the end of the day, you know, she's going to be happy. The world's still going to move on. We're going to have a nice dinner. It's going to be great. But then, Lisa, so after I let go of all this, I get a bleep, bleep. Oh, my Amazon packages are here. So I run down the steps. It was like Christmas. Open the door, and they're not here, Lisa. So no. And then you text me back, and I'm like, yes, let's do it. 10 minutes. Let's do this podcast today because I gotta have something to do. And then you said, let's keep it upbeat, and I'm like, okay, that's great, Lisa. That's what I need to do. But no, it's kind of funny, but.
And, you know, it's not that your feelings of disappointment aren't valid, right. But I love the fact that you took that self-awareness moment and said, okay, yes, I'm feeling this way, but now let me take a few minutes to look at the things that I'm grateful for and the things that I do have. Because we all have those moments in life that we're disappointed, or we feel like the world should revolve around what we're feeling and what we're going through. But, you know, if we can take a few minutes to do what you did and talk about the things of value in our life and just say, okay, let me breathe for a couple moments and realize that this is not I don't want to say as important, but not as powerful as it was in those first moments when I thought, oh no, this can't be happening.
Right. But it takes so much practice. It really does. And for people who are in early recovery or just having a hard time in life in general, I mean, like I said, it's first of all, it's easier said than done because the emotions, absolutely. Whether it's anger, whether it's, of course, anger is secondary emotion. So whatever that feeling is, though, it's hard to just step away. And sometimes if there's other people around, you can't. And I had bad news yesterday, and I was around my girlfriend and her mom. And as much as I wanted to hide those feelings, I just couldn't. And I didn't want to bring other people down either. But I mean, I got over it eventually. But I just, it was embarrassing almost. You know, I was embarrassed for myself for acting that way in front of other people. And I don't know. Maybe it wasn't as bad as I'm thinking it was. But I guess I just didn't want to see people see me upset.
Well, but you're a human being, and we all have emotions, and having emotions does not make you a bad person. Sharing with other people